Welcome everybody to the Casper Podcast. I'm your gracious, beautiful, blessed, beloved, and black host, the kid they call Casper. The KID in Casper stands for King in Development. I'm that menace with the melanin. Reject me as I am, as long as he is still relevant. This is part 13, episode 13 of the BIPOC Solidarity episode that I've been doing, I would say, since either mid-February to like right about now. We took like a long break, I would say, from like February until, unfortunately, till like the shooting in Atlanta, incidents like, it's one of those things that with this conversation, it doesn't have to be, what's the word? We shouldn't have to keep having these conversations when we have to point towards certain events in history, in the world, in our country, in our neighborhoods are happening. We should just continue to have this conversation to seek and understand and not be understood, seek nuance and trying to understand the plights of others in this fight, in this righteous race for, POC unity and BIPOC solidarity. So hopefully everybody is going to enjoy themselves. Hopefully we can educate one another. Hopefully we can edify, encourage, and inspire. But other than that, I'm going to drop the intro real quick. If this is your first time tuning in today, hello, I am the kid that they call Casper. I am a Christian raptivist, yes, rapper / activist. I love Jesus. I am far from a pacifist. Please don't try me. Try the word. Don't try these hands. Don't try this mind. Don't try this tongue. This tongue has the power to speak life or death. But y'all know the standard I hold myself to, MrLeadWithLove. I'm a leader of the Interfaith Coalition in the state of Maryland that is striving for educational, systemic, and societal change. First state in the country to reform the law enforcement officers Bill of Rights. We got some big things popping. I got a huge announcement I would like to make towards the end of this, but I'm gonna first bring on person that like initially helped me start this conversation. She's over there. You got your head up, big head. Are you ready over there? So little Z over here, who we end up getting clicked up through TikTok. She got her flowers this week because she finally hit 10K on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? It was a little harder for her because she kept getting banned after making white men upset. But how you doing today, sis?
I'm good. I'm pretty good. I actually managed to hit about over 13,000 followers, so I'm really excited. I'm really grateful.
Yeah, 13 now. Good for you. One thing that I would like to say, because we didn't get the chance to really touch on this last time you were here because, signal and everything was acting kind of crazy. But I think it's kind of funny how I would say, like, considering that, like, as far as like on a public platform, instead of just making like Facebook groups, and they're not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but being able to just sit down before we can stand with one another, we have to learn how to sit and talk and understand one another. Have you seen any changes as far as like the atmosphere, the conversations you're having with people inside and outside of your community? I don't know if you can attest to that by any means.
Well, physically talking with them, no, not that I know of, but looking from some of the comments that I have seen on some of my most recent posts, I've gotten a fair amount of love for the idea of, well, Black women and Asian women supporting each other, because both of us have been over-sexualized and fetishized. But I have sadly seen some where there is still a lot of mistrust on both sides and, well, racism. So
yeah, that's unfortunate, but the importance of having this panel is to have the difficult conversations. I think that's super important. I've learned so much just from you guys. You and is gonna get here. She should be home shortly. I don't know why I said podcast is home, but this is where we break bread together before we bake it. You know what I'm saying? So it's been pretty good. Secondly, I'll introduce is she's over there playing. Are you playing with split ends? What are you doing over there? Panamanian Hinata. What's going on over here? Huh? What's happening?
I mean, I just didn't want to be rude while you were talking, so I was just like, let me just make sure that my ends are good.
Gotcha. So for those that don't know, 'twas written over here, or I like to call her Melichi. You know what I'm saying? I called her that since the good old stomping grounds of Edgewood High School, before and after the trash bags on the ceiling. She's one of my business partners on Tetelestai Incorporated. Plans on actually having a channel / program where they simply just focus on conversations of having, women of color, discussing abolishing the patriarchy, challenging different ideologies, different biases, given her perspective on just life and everything like that. But yeah, this is your second time on this series, I would say. But you're a good veteran on the Casper podcast. But how have you noticed like a change in like conversations amongst like different people of color communities since, I guess, like either this conversation that I've been trying to be like keep enforcing and keep pushing? Have you seen it change in like interactions at least since that these have been happening? I don't know if you can attest to that by any means.
I would definitely say yes, just because a lot of the issues that I've seen, I felt like I never really had a safe place to express it, just because with different people I've tried to talk about the issues with, they've always tried to say like, well, racism is over, or why you always have to bring race into it. And then it's just like, all right, then who can I talk to about this? But I think since being on the podcast and hearing different perspectives, I feel like I'm in a safe place to express my views, but I'm also able to hear other people's points of views. So it's like, I'm learning, you're learning. This is a great experience, and it's good to be back because I took a break because I was trying to graduate. But it's all good. It's all good.
How dare you try to get your education? I can't stand you.
It was just like I missed having these conversations every week, but it was like I'm not trying to not graduate on time. So it was just one of those, let me take a break from this so that way I have more time to devote to that, if that makes sense.
I get it. You don't like talking to me anymore. It's okay. Just say that next time. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
But also it's just like, you don't see that many women of color in the industry having a household name. So it's just like, I was just trying to graduate with my other sisters and trying to, make a name for ourselves in the industry, trying to catch up.
If you say so. Well, y'all are bringing it down slowly. So that's good. That's good stuff. Got my legendary sister. People have been literally DMing me asking when is she getting a YouTube channel. We need her to get a YouTube channel. She's over there like, oh gosh, stop it. Got my sister Queen Jess from Wisconsin. How you doing over there, sis?
I'm good. I'm a little bit drained, to be honest, after the events of this week, but I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Gotcha. So for yourself, have you noticed, at least either from one being on here, but maybe since like people have been, I would say like different communities have been more boisterous and sharing their experience, sharing their plight, trying to get people to understand and everything like that. Have you noticed a change in the atmosphere as far as like these conversations? I don't think you could take something like this too serious. Does that make sense? I don't know if you can attest to at least what you've seen temperature wise amongst different POC communities.
Well, I've definitely noticed that the temperatures between different POC communities have been rising, but that's because the conversations that we've all been ignoring for so many years are actually finally happening. So while the temperature is going up, I think it's a good thing because we are being more receptive of being educated on, like, say 5 years ago, I would not have been as receptive to listening to the Asian experience or to the Hispanic experience or anything like that. Compared to today, we're actually listening and having these conversations, which I think is more important than the temperature of communities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's that making yourself uncomfortable to accommodate others type of thing. Not too much like accommodate as in you're compromising like your moral compass or anything like that, but just being sensitive to like your fellow man and woman, you know what I'm saying, or just our siblings. For our non-binary folks that are watching today, happy Pride Month. Y'all be safe out there, you know what I'm saying. And then I got my brother from where herpes was invented. They've been cooking it up in the lab. I have to say this every time because it gets a good reaction out of people. My brother from Coachella Valley, Good News Tyler, rapper, future YouTube star, I don't know, activist in training, you know what I'm saying. How you doing today, King? How's it going over there?
What up? Doing good today, actually. Yeah, doing pretty good, yeah.
All right. And the same question for you. Have you noticed in which, since we've been like, at least since I've been trying to like keep the conversation going, I feel like, and we talked about this the other day, probably in Zoom, we can't necessarily clock out of being an activist because the stuff doesn't happen. When I say it doesn't happen, it doesn't stop happening just because it's not on the news. Have you noticed a change in the tone, posture, the temperature in which that we've been having these conversations? What have you noticed, at least amongst like different POC communities? Not saying our white brothers and sisters are not important and siblings are not important, but have you noticed at least a temperature change since we've been having these conversations?
Absolutely. I feel like all the sisters already pretty much answered it and said, pretty much all that I can say. But I will also say that I think that in recent times, since, for instance, George Floyd and everything, I think that we're kind of really looking at each other as human beings as opposed to I'm Black, you're Asian, or I'm Mexican, you're Black. I think it's more of, on a human level, we're trying to get down to it and get to know people for who they are instead of kind of like categorizing them by their race. Although we do talk about race, we do talk about racism. I think at the end of the day, if we can look at each other as human beings and from there also address, hey, you're Mexican, of course you're going to go through your own things. You're Black, you're going to go through your own things. You're Asian, you're going to go through your own things. I think that we are kind of just sitting down and saying, let's get to know each other as fellow human beings, and then we can tackle the problems in each other's, race category or wherever you may put it in, and kind of just get down to let's help one another instead of being divided just because I'm Black and you're Mexican, or you're Asian and I'm Black, or whatever. Let's help one another. Let's come together and let's kind of like go against the system that is set up for all of us to fail, and let's kind of just band together as human beings, and let's love one another, and let's stand together in this time, including white people as well. I'm seeing that's happening with white people as well, but especially in the POC community, I think it's really happening, especially.
Dope. And y'all already know what I'm about to get into. I'm about to start off with the I'm really big on mental health. Z, just because I haven't had you on here in a minute, I think I'm gonna have you go first. That, and because like I said, you and me like kind of when I say like you and me started this, even though you like say no, you're doing it, like this, the idea to actually sit down with somebody from the, whether you want to call it the East Asian community, it never would have happened until I randomly hit you up on TikTok and you responded, and not being weirded out that I hit you up on TikTok. But yeah, so mental health check-in. How you doing? how's everything going for you mentally and emotionally and everything right now during this time?
I'm pretty good. I'm looking forward. I'm going to my college summer preview program where I sign up for classes. So I guess also a little tired because I work still.
I feel that. That's completely understandable. And for everybody else, anybody else can go next. How's everybody doing? Temperature check, mental health check before we dig into some of this good trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, I'm doing good. I'm a little drained because I had some personal stuff to take care of this week, but I'm actually excited to be here today, and I feel like we can get a lot done today, if that makes sense. So I'm optimistic.
I feel that. All right, fellow king and queen, what y'all got for me? He picked you, so.
If we're being completely honest, it's been up and down, if that makes sense. It's been up and down. So since I've, graduated, I've just taken this time to just have a break, and just relax. But during this time, I'm doing what my therapist refers to as a self-reflection time, and I just think about a lot of things, and I have time to reflect, like, okay, why did that particular thing upset me? How can I get past this? So I've been just doing a lot of self-reflection time while also just trying to keep myself busy, just because while self-reflecting, I also don't want to dwell on it too much, because then I'll just be kind of in a funk. So also trying to keep myself busy on top of it.
Gotcha. I feel that. All right, Coachella Valley, how you doing over there? Mental health, come on, dog, let's get into it.
Yeah, man. I'm doing actually good today. It's kind of like what Mel said, some days are better than others. So for me, today is actually a good day. And I just feel like, as a human being, we go through emotions, and I'm learning that it's okay to go through emotions. It's okay to not be okay, as Casper likes to say. And I think that some days I have to be okay with not being okay. Whether that's I'm angry at what's going on, or I'm sad, or I'm depressed, or whatever it may be. But today I woke up actually in a great mood, and threw on some comedy. I love to laugh, as I've said on this podcast many times. I love to laugh, so I feel like it's kind of hard, especially for people of color, especially Black people, because sometimes we feel guilty if we are happy, because we feel like, oh man, look what's going on, why should I be happy? But I try to tell people, if you're not okay mentally, if you're not good mentally, then you can't really be good in the sport. So it's like, you have to take those necessary breaks. As much as you may feel like, well, I can't take a break. Well, yeah, we can't take a break because we're Black, of course. But at the end of the day, take some time just to relax, to cool off, to chill, and spend some time with your family. Watch a good movie, something that's going to uplift your spirits. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, personally. So for me personally, today's been a good day. That's not to say tomorrow won't be a good day or will be a good day. I don't know. I kind of just take each day as it comes. But yeah, today for me, it's a good day. So, I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to be interacting with my brothers and sisters here, and I'm excited for the topics we're going to get into.
Yeah, man. For me, it's like hit and miss, because I had Tuesday was very it was fruitful for the most part for those that were here. And matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna take I wasn't even planning on doing this, but my sister Jess decided to give me some beautiful advice the other day. So I'm gonna address this before I get into how I'm doing upstairs. I'm just going to talk about what's on my heart. So, I'm just going to start this off by saying, hi, this is the Kid Casper podcast. I am Kid Casper. I open up by saying I'm a Christian raptivist. You know what I'm saying? Notice I put Christian before everything. Jess tells me because even though she is a black woman, she is a mom first and a black woman second. I, as a black man, am a Christian first and a black man second. So when things get problematic on here and y'all want me to just pop off and, act out and everything like that and react in a manner where it's more so reaction opposed to response, I have to sit here and turn the other cheek twice because I am a Christian first and I'm a black man second. So though things got pretty crazy on here the other day, that's how I handle things. If y'all would have handled this differently, I just ask that you go on your podcast and you do that. Meaning what I do on here is how I do things on here. How I react as a Christian will never be good enough for anybody's box that they try to put me in. I have a bar on my album that says, "Don't put me in a box unless you fit me for a casket." So with that being said, stop trying to police me on my blackness. Like, it's annoying. I tell people all the time, there's a morality clause that I signed up for. There's a morality clause that I subscribe to, not anybody else on this screen. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's accountable for the words they say. Just like I'm accountable for the words I say on earth, and I'm definitely going to be held accountable for them when I get to heaven, if I make it. Because some of y'all been trying me and blowing my phone up this week, and none of y'all, y'all called me everything else but a child of God in my DMs. So with that being said, if you got something crazy to say, you can get blickety blocked in the comment section. That's fine. I appreciate everybody that's DM'd me opposed to getting nasty in the comment section, because y'all know the standard I hold. 1 Corinthians 16:14, everything you do, be done in love, and do everything in love. So with that being said, I don't got time for that. I got souls to save or minister to, because I don't save anybody. I'll correct myself there. I got giants to kill, and I got hearts to mend and counsel. So with that being said, shut up. This is my podcast. And if that's too abrasive for some people, I'm sorry to say that, but it just is what it is. Because some of y'all are trying to say I'm on some coon energy. Some of y'all are trying to say that I don't love my people. I love my people, but I'm more about winning souls than winning arguments. So with that being said, you think this is easy? Please go make a podcast. Please go do whatever you want to do on there. Say whatever you want to say on there, and I will gladly critique it. But at the end of the day, am I going to do what y'all asked me to do? No. That's it. So I love y'all. Be good to each other. And there was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah. This is kind of crazy. The fact that we even have to go this far, but I'll say this. And I'll say this as graceful as possible, because even right now I'm trying not to lose my but everybody on, and I'm going to say this, and I think maybe I should say this for everybody on the screen. Say everybody on the screen, everybody I invite on the screen, I consider family, even if we agree on the same thing or not. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that this has happened, but I've just had a point where it's just like, you guys need to understand, when you come at these people on this panel, that is a reflection of me at the end of the day. Just like if they came at y'all crazy, regardless if they got to take the words responsible, they have to be responsible for the words that they speak and utter to y'all. I gotta take a rap for that. So with that being said, let's be nice. Let's learn from one another, even in the difficult conversations. I handled the other day however I could handle it, the best of my ability, even if that means putting people in timeout, because I don't breastfeed adults, and I'm not going to sit here and give anybody any sippy cups for the sympathy. So that's it. Mentally, I've had an up and down kind of week, I would say. Today was tumultuous for the most part. Yesterday I slept all day. The day before, it was really, really good. I'm excited to have this conversation tonight, to get in some good trouble with my brothers and sisters tonight that I know of. And I might even open the panel up to other members in the BIPOC community. Sign up for our Patreon. The link will be in there to join the session. But Everything's gonna be good. I think everything's gonna be fruitful. It's gonna be fun. And yeah, y'all ready? Y'all ready to get into this? Okay. All right. This one's a doozy. Like I said, it's been some craziness this week. So if this is your first time tuning in, we do this thing on the Casper Podcast in which I bring up different topics, whether they're newsworthy, TikTok news, MySpace news, AIM news, what goes down in the kick, you know what I'm saying? We bring that up, and we bring that up whether you think it's newsworthy or not. I think that there's going to be nuance in the news regardless if you claim it as news. But because, as I always say, I'm a Christian first and a black man second, I always like to title this, and I hope you get a kick out of this. And if you don't, I mean, just, I don't know, what does E say? She says, stick a toothpick in your toe and then run it against the wall or something crazy like that. I don't know. Sounds a little bit more gentle than headbutt a knife. But anyway, welcome to the Friendly Neighborhood Negro News. All right, let's get into it. So, as you did see on the flyer, on the little like promo package and everything like that, I am not a respecter of persons. I'm gonna have to. That's fine, Z. That's more than fine. So when you said in 10 or at 10? In 10?
In 10, yeah.
Oh, well then I might have you go. That's fine. Well, you might have to go first on this after I introduce and play a video. So there was an incident that happened. I'm trying to get all the details correctly, but there was an incident where there was this grown man. I'm trying to remember what part, I guess, like of descent of Asia he is from. For some odd reason, matter of fact, I'll just play a clip. So if anybody knows who China Mac is, Key's the one that sent me this video. He's like this Asian American, I want to say East Asian American rapper, and he, touched on this event in which let me just play the clip for y'all. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, so I'm gonna need y'all to be graceful because this might make a couple people mad. Like I said, Z, since you gotta go first, I might have you go first. Let me know if y'all can see everything on this screen. We good? Can y'all see everything? All good? All righty. Let's get into it. So boom, and let's unmute that. Okay, let me make sure y'all can hear it.
Ryan Lee Wen is out of jail after allegedly shooting his son Kobe.
He tried to hit me with a sledgehammer, but that's not gonna work because I'm too fast.
So then what did he do?
Got a gun. Boom. Shot me right here.
It's all on video Saturday afternoon on Candlewood Lane. You'll see kids playing, hear a gunshot, then Kobe realizes he's hit.
That's fucked up. 100% fucked up. That's a grown man trying to hurt a child, then shooting a child. That's crazy. All of my Asian brothers and sisters out there, that's not how we respond to situations. That is not how we do it. All right? We are to protect ourselves and our family, not that shit. That shit is something else. We do not stand by shit like that. He needs to go to jail.
Figure out what.
All right. So, E, first off, hey E, you just showed up. You look great, by the way. What are you eating over there?
Noodles.
All right. So, as y'all could just see, and I'll probably have to play the clip again, for refreshment purposes for our sister E. But Z, after seeing that, what are your thoughts?
Well, the guy who did it, not only, I think it was there had to be some type of racist motivation towards it, yes. Even with the intent of also just harming a child. Like, what is wrong with this man? And I heard he managed to get out of jail on a $10,000 bond right after the day that it happened. And another thing I want to talk about is how the news media covered it. They covered it as of, oh, this is our chance to get a juicy story. We don't care at all about this child who was affected by this, because you can see the reporter like knelt down, was like, did it hurt? He was like, yeah, it did hurt. He was shot. But you can just see that the way the news media handled it, they really did not care at all about necessarily the situation. They cared about the coverage that it was kind of providing them.
Yeah, it was wild. Jess, considering that you're the only one, not to like dog you by any means, but considering that you're the only mother on the panel, at least until whatever Key is doing, she's probably eating peas with mayonnaise. What are your thoughts on this situation? I don't know if this is your first time hearing about it, but share your thoughts.
I've heard about it. I can say as a mother, he wouldn't have made it to getting a $10,000 bond the next day. He would have made it to county jail. I'm gonna say that right there. I feel like I agree with Z where I feel like the media has basically just turned it into a way to stoke the flames between the Black community and the Asian community. They don't really give a damn about that child. They don't give a damn about that man. They just see a way to take away from what else is happening in this country and in the world. And it's a way to try to divide us. I think that man should go to prison for the rest of his life. However, I know he probably won't, because unfortunately nothing happens to people who injure Black children.
What y'all got from me? Come on, dig on in on this.
I think this is also an opportunity for the media to separate our communities even more. Because yes, race does play a part in this, but also like whenever I'm always going to refer back to the Atlanta shooting. Like that man's race, like none of the races really played a part when the media was talking about it. And this is just another way for like the media to separate our communities even more. And like that's what's frustrating, because like I learned about it when somebody in my comment section brought it up to me. But like I can definitely see, because like we all know how the media is, like mainstream media. This is just another way for them to, as Z was saying, get another like cash grab, get more views.
I agree. Like it's just like what they did with as soon as the anti-Asian hate crime bill came in, immediately the media started portraying that Black people were the ones that mainly attacked Asian people, when statistically that's not actually correct. But if that's all you see on the media, it's just a way to get to perpetuate the anti-Blackness in the Asian community and perpetuate the anti-Asian in the Black community. It's a way to divide us so that we never band together. I agree.
Yeah, it was you had something to say?
Something I want to mention on with that bill that was passed, I think it is actually fairly deceptive, because I've heard this actually from another East Asian woman who was talking about how saying this bill is actually deceptive, even though it is coming into fruition now. How it feels like it's really again now used to split up POC people, because now there's like, oh well, you have a bill, you're okay, we don't. How come they get that and we don't? And again, it's just pushing a wedge even further between our communities. So that bill, I don't necessarily think that the government has ever really cared about any of this. It's always just been to their own benefit.
Well, if you look into the bill real quick, it's just giving police more power. It's not actually help. Like, how is it really helping Asians? It's just giving police more power. That's all the bill is doing. Like, truly, like, yes, they're just using Asians to cover up what they actually want to do. So.
Wow. That's just. And I know I've heard it. So my parents, I love my parents. I love them dearly, but they're both white, and they tell me like, oh, but you got this now. You got this. Everything's gonna be all right. Or like, what about the George? Isn't there a George Floyd bill that is going to or is still stuck in the Senate? I don't know what necessarily is happening with that, but I'm still thinking, no, it's all still deceptive to about everybody.
Tyler, Tyler and Chi. Tyler, I know you got. I'm trying to remember how old Dre is. Dre is not even 2 yet, if I'm not mistaken. And then with Chi, you got a little brother. I'm trying to think how old Manny is. Manny's 10, 11, or 12.
No, Manny's 12. He just turned 12 last week.
Gotcha. Either one of y'all can go first, but how do y'all feel like having, for instance, like you guys having, I mean, yeah, your brother's black, Mel. Sorry. Yeah. Not to be sorry about these are little Miles Morales that kind of looks like Micah from Queen Sugar. But anyway, between the two of y'all, what are y'all thoughts? Kind of having like once again a personal connection to this, having younger people in your lives that look like this kid that pretty much got shot. Well, not pretty much got shot.
For me, it's like there is nothing. And I mean nothing in this world that can justify shooting a child. Like, as a grown person, you should have had the restraint of, I don't care how mad I am. This is not my child. I'm not going to harm you. And even if it was your child, just know there's just no reason in the world to justify shooting a child. But just like Jess and Z and Emily were saying, this is just a way to divide the community even further, because now unfortunately there might be people that are saying, F Asian people because they're quick to shoot us, or you'll have Asians that might say, see, blacks are always doing this, so we have every means to do this and that. And then it's like, no, that was just one person who made a horrible decision. Do not punish the entire community. Just like how if one individual who happens to be black does something wrong, do not condemn the whole entire community just off of one person's mistake. And I just feel like this whole divide of saying these are the model minorities versus the not model minority is just furthering the wedge, when in reality we should be coming together and realizing the bullshit that the media and government is just trying to spew out.
Ty, I couldn't help but notice, Ty, with you, like, I noticed it got a particular emotional response out of you while looking at my monitors. How you doing over there, dog?
It's just, man, bro, like, okay, so, like you said, I have a nephew named Dre, and if you guys watch past podcasts, he's popped in here and there, but it's just the reality that even though I don't have kids, I look at Dre as my son, and I have to raise him to know he is a black man in this country. And for him to know that he can be shot for no reason. Like, it's just, man, like it's see, this is why I'm scared to have kids. I'm keeping it 100. Like, I'm scared to have kids because it's like I have to. Every time he leaves the house, I'm going to be worried. He or she leaves the house, I'm going to be worried that something is going to happen to them just because of the color of their skin. And it's like, this shouldn't be the reality. You know what I mean? Like, this shouldn't be the world we live in. But unfortunately, it is. And it's sad because it's like, it's like we have to survive. We can't live in this world. We have to survive. And it's like, for me, every time I see a cop car pass, I get a feeling, because it's like I don't trust the police. You know, like I just don't. And it's like, but I should because they're here to serve and protect, right? But it's like all we've seen is police brutality. You know, police killing innocent people of color. Like, man, it's sad, bro. You know, and that's why I was saying earlier, like, yes, race is a big thing and it's something that we all have to live with. But at the same time, we should look at each other as human beings before anything. And I think if we were to do that, things like this wouldn't happen. And it's like, yeah, obviously this is a racially motivated attack. Like, why else would he shoot an innocent kid because he's black?
Well,
and it's like,
I can break down the incident. So I have the copy of the incident right here. So I had it and then I lost it. So 6-year-old Kobe Daniel was shot in the arm while retrieving his bike from the front of his neighbor's house on June 6th. The suspect, identified as Ryan Lee Nugent, threatened Kobe Daniel with a sledgehammer and shot him in the arm. Kobe's father and Arnold Daniels said his children were riding their bikes outside when they stopped and left one in front of the neighbor's home. After trying to retrieve his bike, the neighbor came out with a sledgehammer in his hand and said something to the boy. The neighbor went back inside and shot a gun through the front window. In a video of the nearby, it was like one of those like ring cameras that like people have on like their doorbells and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
No problem, Z. You know you welcome back here anytime. And the kid yells out like we saw in the video and everything like that. He tried hitting me with a sledgehammer, but that's not going to work because I'm too fast. So it's like it's kind of crazy that the kid gets shot, but I'm guessing like because the adrenaline he had going through his veins, he was like, okay, I got shot, but I'm not getting hit with a sledgehammer. So this guy went through, just from like this article in itself, he went through extreme lengths to like hit this kid. It doesn't describe if it was like a through and through and everything like that, but you could see that even when he's like talking, let me see if I can find the picture real quick. You can see even as he's like talking to whoever he's talking to, he's got like something strapped around like strapped around his arm and everything like that. But yeah, man, it's
yeah, man, it sucks, bro. And
go ahead.
Yeah. And here's the thing though, Melanie's completely right. We can't categorize a whole group of people just because some idiot did something that was wrong. You know, we can't do that. This shouldn't be a cause for more division between the Asian community and the Black community, because at the end of the day, we're all facing the same thing, which is racism. And I think that just because some idiot wants to shoot a kid, that shouldn't be a cause for Black people to be like, oh, look at the Asian community. No, we need to stop the division. And yeah, that's why the media is so brainwashing, and the media is evil, yo. Like the fact that they're just interviewing this kid like, oh, did it hurt? Like, what? Like, come on, yo. Like, y'all don't give a damn about this kid. You want to use him as a juicy story. And it's like, it's frustrating. You know? It's frustrating.
Just to kind of piggyback off of what Melanie was saying, and this might be controversial, but there wasn't always anti-Blackness in the Asian community, and there wasn't always anti-Asian in the Black community. This was something that was perpetuated from white supremacy, and unfortunately, enough of the people in our communities believed in that and have taken situations like this one and generalize entire communities because of it. And that's something that I believe that our communities need to work on. We're losing sight of the big picture, and we're focusing on the actions of one instead of the actions of many, which is white supremacy.
Absolutely. And I think like not even that, it's the fact that like we can still say that we could say, like, for instance, even if we have the assumption this individual is like, I think E said it. It was either E or Z that said it first, that, this individual's motivations could have been racial, but, all of us didn't go, all the other Black and Hispanic people on this panel didn't go, yeah, damn the East Asians. And somebody, if you even hold on real quick, and if somebody even tries to take a soundbite out of this, unless you got the full transcripts, don't even try it. Okay. Anyway, but I think that it's important that we're able to like see the individual, not stigmatize the whole community, and realize the problematic actions of an individual and separate them. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, just like when I die, I got to go to court by myself. Not saying this guy's gonna die in court, I don't know, but when he has his day in court, he's gonna answer for his crimes, not for the Asian American community or the American of Asian descent community. Is not gonna have to answer for this individual's crimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Jessica is completely right that this always is a stand from white supremacy, and that's the whole thing, is they want us to be divided, killing each other, hating each other, because at the end of the day, when we do that, they're winning. So I think if we really want to combat white supremacy, we need to stand together, because that's the real fear for them, is us unified. And this goes back to gangs, this goes back to the start of gangs, how that was started, and all this stuff is they wanted us not to be united but divided, killing each other. And I think that the more that we do that, the more that they're laughing at us, like, haha, see, they're falling for what we're doing. And it's like, we need to come together as a people and say, we're going to combat the evilness of racism, and we're going to be anti-racist, and we're going to go against the system that is designed for us to fail. Like, we're going to go against these things. And I think if we did that, white supremacy wouldn't have the power it has right now. And I think that Black people, Asian people that are so like against another race and saying, oh, we're against the Asian community, we're against this community, we're against that community. It's white supremacy. Like, y'all falling into the trap, y'all falling into the trap. And even like, Black people that hate their own people and stuff, it's like, y'all falling for the trap. Like, if we're keeping it 100, y'all falling for what they want us to do. It's like, I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie, Tales from the Hood, but yeah, if y'all seen that movie, that like at the end when they have Crazy K and he's locked up and he's with the white supremacy dude, and then they start showing him how Blacks are essentially like the new kind of KKK, that they're killing each other, and it's like, that's what they want. They want us to kill each other. They want us to hate each other. They want us to hate our own people. And it's like, if we fall for that, then it's like, that's not what we should be doing. We should be going against the establishment, going against the system. And I think if we did that, it wouldn't be as big of a problem right now as it is.
I agree. Good stuff, y'all. I mean, like, and I say good stuff because I know everybody had a long day, but they still coming with that good. You know what I'm saying? That good for that good trouble. You heard me. Anything else on this subject? I think we covered it. All right, cool. First off, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat over here, just in case anybody wants to chime in from the BIPOC community. Join the panel, and I typed it and I didn't click the bar first. Join the panel. All right, bet spacebar. Copy paste, not to match with style, and boom, we'll do that. And we'll get into this next topic. And E, you're going first on this one. All right, so this is absolutely ridiculous. First off, shout out to E for putting me on to Next Shark last week, because I be feeling bad, like, as a being, like, you know, being a black man in this country, I tend to be tuned into stuff that, you know, directly impacts my community, you know what I'm saying? And I miss out unless, like, E talks about it, or other of my East Asian, or, you know, is there West Asian, South Asians? You know what I'm saying? Like, any of my even any of my siblings of Asian descent bring it up. I don't really hear about this firsthand, but since I've been on the Next Shark, I have been staying apprised. At the same time, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a state of rage all the time. So with this bullshit, oh my gosh. Whew. E, I don't know if you heard about this. So first off, we're just gonna blame Mel for this. So Florida man faces 30 years for vandalizing Asian American families' vehicles, sending threatening messages as squirrel? That's weird. What does that even mean? What does that mean as squirrel? I don't know what that means. So apparently at Daytona Beach, Florida, man is facing up to 30 years in prison after being convicted this week of vandalizing vehicles belonging to Asian American families with racial slurs. Kyle Christensen, 34 years old, spray painted 2 of the family's vehicles and placed nails in their driveway on July 29, 2020. So people once again think that hate crimes just happen in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? There's that model minority myth. You know what I'm saying? No, this just ain't happening, you guys. You know what I'm saying? No, it's been happening. It's just, it's too much crap to pick up on. Just like, unless you look for it. Thank you, E. E, girl, I love you. I want you to know that. You know what I'm saying? The best way I could do to keep my ears to the street, I got you. You hear me? Anyway, the vehicles, which were parked at the family's home in New Smyrna Beach, were a black pickup truck owned by a male family member and a gray Honda owned by his sister-in-law. They were defaced with the words "die." I don't even know what the G word is, but I'm not going to try to look it up. Don't do it. Okay, good. And then the R word, which I don't like to use because my brother is 33 years old, but intellectually 3. We're not going to use that R word on this podcast. The damages cost more than $5,000. He is currently in Volusia Sheriff's Office custody and was arrested back in 2020. But yeah, he was convicted and he's facing up to 35 years. E, share your thoughts on this.
Ooh, I read about this story, but okay. So 5 days before he vandalized their cars, he went to the dentist because that's where the wife worked at, and their last name is, I think it's Christensen, so it sounds pretty white, and they so like their thought process is that like he thought that he was getting a white doctor, but when she came out she was obviously Asian, and so I think before he left the dentist's office, he left a racial note, like a racist note. And then 5 days after, their cars were vandalized by this man. And I think when they say like squirrel, he went by the name Squirrel, which is like that's just like, that's so dumb. Like if you're gonna, I don't support vandalization, but if you're gonna pick a name, why Squirrel? Like be smart, please. Like I know you're not smart, but just like why Squirrel? Like, that's just my question. Like, why squirrel?
If you don't mind me asking, just because I don't know these words, I don't want to know the word. But people need to know why it's bad enough that it's offensive. But if you could even speak to, like, the history of the detriment of these terms, you know what I'm saying? That to the best of your ability, you know what I'm saying? Because I know this could maybe triggering for you, but I mean, I need people to understand why this stuff is problematic and not to be normalized. So if you could help me out, my East Asian sister.
So it started during the Philippine-American War. It's not
history class. Come on, everybody get comfortable real quick.
And it was a slang term that was used for prostitutes. And then it just became a more broad word, so it's just like the C slur And then the G slur is more for like Southeast Asians, but obviously people aren't smart, like especially like white people, so they really can't tell us apart. So like the C slur used to be directly used for Chinese people, and then because they couldn't tell like other East Asians apart, even like I've gotten like things where it's like they would ask me if the G word would apply to me. Yes, this is like again my racist school. This one white kid asked if the G word applied to me, and I'm like, no, because I'm not Southeast Asian, because it was mainly used towards Southeast Asians. And then he continued to call me that. One, don't be using slurs if you're not that race. Two, I told you I'm not Southeast Asian. Like, but yeah, so C slur is more used for like East Asians. G slur is more used for Southeast Asians.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So with getting this download and everything like that, what y'all got for me, kinfolk? Who wanna go first on this? Make me pick. Aunt Tamisha, I can't see her face, but that's fine. She can go first too. That's cool. Mel, you haven't met Aunt Tamisha, have you? Oh man, she's that favorite auntie you ain't met yet. You know what I'm saying? Auntie, if you want to jump in here real quick, it's up to you. You don't gotta be on camera, darling. All you gotta do is speak your wisdom, queen. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the name calling that guy did is not good. It's just sad that we have to go into stuff like that, because even when Rudy was working in the hospital, white people would come in and say things like, I don't want that with a hard R serving me, you know. And what I tell people, I like to explain to people a little bit of history on the hospitals in Brooklyn. That a lot of them, when you're in North Brooklyn, a lot of the hospitals were Jewish. So they'll be like El Shaddai Hospital or El Bethel. And even still, blacks were not treated kind in those hospitals. They usually were dietary or cleaning the hospital. That's the only job you could get. Now, when you go into like the areas of Bushwick, which is considered South, East, all those areas, it is German hospitals because it's on the border of Queens. So they were a whole lot worse. They would say things like, you know, you can't work here. You're coming to take my job, and I'm not going to let that happen. And they will call you everything, hard R, whole 9 yards, because they don't want you serving them, not even to give them a cup of water. And so I totally see what that situation was, which is, I don't know. I heard a doctor have to deal with Dr. Abakporo, his African doctor, and the patient told him, I'd rather die before I let you touch me.
I don't know if y'all remember, well, matter of fact, I'm going to ask this. So has anybody ever watched The Jeffersons before? Yes? Okay. So anybody remember that episode of The Jeffersons when, okay, so the KKK was pretty much at the hotel, right? So the KKK was at the hotel. They went to a CPR class. They were being racist. They called George Jefferson's wife nigga, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Like, called him the N-word. They got kicked out of CPR class. So then, oh my gosh. So then, Yo's like, you know, white neighbor in the building was like, yeah, I got invited to this meeting today. He got invited to the KKK meeting. To give a little, let me give press it to this. He got invited to the KKK meeting. He's like, you know what? Didn't know it was the KKK meeting, obviously, and he invited George. George is a black man, blackity black man. You know what I'm saying? So then, one of the Klan members ends up having a heart attack, and then they're like, "Do something! Don't you know CPR?" And then the son was like, "I don't know CPR. We got kicked out of the CPR class." And everybody's looking at George. Aren't you CPR certified? He was like, no, come on, man. Come on. He was just calling me every name but a child of God. Anyway, hunkered down, got on Yo's chest. It was kind of funny. If everybody remembers this episode, I'll send y'all the link. He's like, come on, you bastard. Don't die, you bastard. Anyway, dude lives. It was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful moment in which that people are really supposed to be exposed to. Problem was when that dude finally came to from this heart attack, he was like, thank you for saving my life. I think to his son or something. And then his son was like, I didn't save your life, Dad. He was like, who saved my life? And then he pointed towards George. And then he was like this. My man had like the O2 mask on. He looked at George, looked back at his son, looked at George, looked back at his son, and was like, you should have let me die. And then they carried him off to the ambulance. So for people, I get it was a visual acting job, but for people to think like this does not happen, people are like, I'd much rather die than see somebody who is supposed to heal me that looks like that. Ain't that a shame? Mm-mm-mm.
I feel like what we're seeing happening to Asian Americans, I think if people are paying attention, this dispels the entire model minority myth, because we have other POC communities that think that, oh, Asians are the closest to whiteness and the whites like them and this, that, and the third. That's not true. They've been used as a prop to keep oppressing other POC communities, to keep us divided. White people do not see them as people either. White supremacy does not see them as people either. So I think it kind of shines a light on that.
What y'all got for me?
Yeah, so I think it also goes to intelligence as well, that for some reason racist white people don't think black people can be intelligent, or anyone else that's not white can be intelligent. That's why, you know, whenever you hear black people speak articulate, right? They're like, why are you talking white? And it's like, I'm talking white because I'm speaking proper, like, you know? And it's
he froze up on y'all end too, right? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
he's frozen.
You completely froze up. What you got dial up over there, dog?
What the hell? Am I good now?
Same thing that came for Sean came for you. My goodness. Just kind of repeat what you were just saying, I guess.
Okay, so I was just basically making the point that it used to be a scientific fact, quote unquote, that black people's brains were smaller than white people's brains or something like that. That we didn't have the brain capacity to be like smart or whatever it is, which it, you know, is completely BS. But you know, it's just the continuance of the spirit of white supremacy. And I tell people all the time that white supremacy is a mind state. It's a disease. It's a virus that can affect anyone. You don't have to necessarily have white skin to be about white supremacy. You can be dark. You can have that mindset of white supremacy, you know? And I think that when we look at such as people as like Candace Owens, Sicko Woods, these people, obviously they're suffering from the disease of white supremacy, and it's turned them against their own people. And I think that, you know, as far as the guy who, you know, made racial slurs towards the Asian family, you know, at the end of the day, it's sad to say that I'm not surprised. You know, at this point, I just assume that a white person is racist unless I really get to know them and find out they're anti-racist. But I just assume that just because of everything we're seeing is kind of like, and I don't want to box all white people in with, you know, just because you have racist white people. I don't want to box them all in. But at this point, it's almost like you can't just not be racist. You have to be anti-racist. And until you kind of show that through your actions, it's gonna kind of be like, okay, what are you about? You know what I mean? Are you a racist person or are you not a racist person? Are you anti-racist or are you just claiming that I'm not racist? Like, so yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, white supremacy is a disease that needs to die, and I think it's dying. You know, I really do. Of course, I think racism is going to be here, you know, as long as we're here. But at the same time, I think more people are realizing the evilness of it, and they're taking a stand and saying, "Oh, I don't want to be like that." You know, I want to make sure that I'm not racist. I want to make sure that I'm anti-racist. And I think we're seeing that. I think we are. I think there's a lot of change that's happening within the culture, within the world itself. And I think that we're moving towards a good direction. But at the end of the day, we got to keep this work up because this is a daily thing. And we got to let people know, like, it's not enough to just not speak about. We need to speak about these things because that's what brings about change. That was what brings about change of mindset. That's what brings about all these things. So these conversations that we're having are super necessary, you know, as far as people that watch this podcast and, you know what I mean, engage in the conversation.
And Chi, I'm not sure if you were able to share your thoughts on this, but what you got for me?
First of all, we do not claim that man.
Look, man, the title said Florida man. You have to.
I know, but we do not claim him. He's in Daytona. I'm in Orlando. So that's number one. Number two is that I think for me, what most people don't know is that where I went to school, we accepted international students. So I had a friend who was from Egypt. I met students that were from Korea. I've met students that were from, you know, this place and this place. And in my class, I had one person that was Filipino, one person that was Filipino and white, one person who was Chinese but adopted by a white family. And then, you know, there's all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, it was interesting talking to them and just hearing their perspectives on everything, especially at the start of last year when, you know, the coronavirus was, when we went into lockdown the first time, and, you know, hearing their perspectives saying like how some days they are terrified to leave their own homes because of the Asian hate that was happening. And then unfortunately, we did end up having international students leaving the school due to the fear of what might happen to them. And that was something that was never brought up. It was just like, we have students leaving because they feel afraid of what may or may not happen on campus. Now, thankfully, nothing did happen on campus because everybody on campus is so open-minded. However, that was a safe space. Outside, we cannot control what may or may not happen to them. So it was just interesting hearing their perspective of like saying like, you know, people think I'm the model minority, but they don't understand the, you know, the stereotypes, the ignorance that comes with being Asian. So that was educational for me, hearing it from their perspective. And then I remember one person, I don't remember who it was specifically, but one person saying, I feel like I cannot talk about my struggles as an Asian. I feel like I cannot talk about my struggles because of this, that, and the third. And I remember saying, look, your struggle is your struggle. Don't let anybody tell you how to tell your story. So.
Yeah. So I couldn't help but notice when we're getting to the subject, and you know, I'm just more so asking you and your thoughts, not to put you on blast by any means, but this is hitting pretty hard for you. What's going through your mind right now, little sis?
So, I mean, like, this is not really related. Well, it is related. It's also related to, like, what we talked about last week. So, you know, growing up as a kid, I always wanted to look white. And I just got colored contacts, and they're all, like, lighter. And my friend was like, why'd you get colored contacts? Because I have regular contacts. And it just made me think, like, is it just really something rooted deep inside me where it's just, like, I don't want to look Asian? Like, because, like, I dyed my hair, I'm dyeing it again, so it's lighter. And, like, I was like, oh, I just like the look. But then I thought about it, and I was like, well, that's how I wanted to look like as a kid because I hated being Asian. Like, is that really something that's coming up just because of everything that's going around me, everything that's happening? Is that really something that's like coming back as like a repressed thought, as a repressed feeling? So, I mean, that was like really weird to think about, because it's like, why would I? Like, I don't need the need for color contacts. I don't do makeup anymore. Like, I don't do, like, my page used to be makeup and now it's not. I never had an issue with my eyes. And then, like, you know, just coming back with the whole Asian fishing, it's just like, is that a reason, one of the reasons why? Because I didn't have the urge to get colored contacts at all up until recently. So, I don't know. That was just kind of an interesting thing to hear. And then also just having, like, elderly people around me. Like, my grandmother, she lives with me. My mom, she's like, she's kind of getting up there. Is that something that it's something I'm always, like, worried about. And, like, again, I bring this up, like, every single week. We have white supremacist neighbors. Like, that's, like, and their sons are kind of just out there. Like, he got kicked out of, like, a private school, like, a private Christian school, and, like, a bunch of other things. Like, he hit a parked car, and they blamed it on his ADHD. So, I mean, like, you never know what your neighbors are going to do. They're your neighbors, but you don't know them. So, I mean, like, just wanting to change, like, appearance and, like, that just made me realize, like, is it really, like, something that I want, or is it something that's actually, like, a deeper meaning? Because my friend, he's also Asian, he was like, maybe since you look white now, you won't get hate crimed. Which is, like, that's, like, a really dark thing to joke about, but that's true. Like, that's, like, you know, I have a group of Asian friends, and, like, we always talk about, like, we're always on edge of, like, if something's gonna happen. Like, I talked about this probably, like, 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I went downtown and, like, to this street that's, like, filled with a lot of, like, Asian, like, local stores. And it's like, what if I see something? Like, what would I personally do to stop it? Or if something happened to me, what would I do? Because we all know since the Atlanta shooting, like, and then there was also a situation where a 15-year-old boy was shot at his house. There's another incident where this 15-year-old boy was playing at a playground and he was jumped. There's no age limit or age restriction to who's going to get hate crimed in our community.
I'm going to say that one more time.
There's no age restriction for who's going to get hate crimed in the community. So it's just, like, a terrifying thought, because my sister, she lives on her own. I know she's strong, but, like, if something was to happen to her, like, none of us are close to her. She's, like, a 2-hour drive away from us. So, you know, that's something. And, like, obviously she has a boyfriend, but she's never around her boyfriend all the time. And I'm not saying that she's not strong enough, but, like, we wouldn't find out, because none of my family's close with her friends. I have some of her friends' contacts, but I don't know if they'd be in the right headspace to be texting me first about it, or immediately after. So, I mean, like, to, like, non-people of color, these thoughts are just, like, radical. Like, oh, why would you even think that? But I feel like to a lot of POCs, like, these are normal thoughts. Especially in the Asian community right now. It's like, if something was to happen, what would we do to protect ourselves and other people? Because who knows who's going to have a bad day, or a bad day? Who knows what people are thinking about? Because, like, at school, like, even though I never got, like, physically harassed, I got, like, verbally harassed. The teachers didn't care as much as they said that they cared for, you know, POC kids and how much they wanted equity and equality. That's not true. They don't care. Like, you know, after the Atlanta shooting, my school didn't do shit to talk about the Atlanta shooting. And even though my school is predominantly white, we still have Asian students. Like, we still have people with concerns, and my school didn't even address it. With the Black Lives Matter protests, like, a majority of the protests were still going on while we started school. And a majority of them started when we were still in school, you know, online, but they didn't do anything to address any of it. Like, they didn't give us resources if we needed to reach out. They didn't give us resources on what was going on. And I think just especially finding out not finding out, but like opening my eyes even more this year, you know, starting my TikTok, getting more involved with different people, that I had to learn on my own, and a lot of students aren't willing to do that themselves. Because, you know, if it doesn't impact them, they're not willing to learn. Especially, again, I went to a predominantly white school. None of them actually care. Like the girl that told me to stop posting what I post, she's the type of girl who will post one black square on her Instagram and call it good. And it's not that you have, I always say this, you don't have to start a social media page to make a change, but you do have to be educated on what's going on, because if you're not educated, you're just dense, you're closed-minded, you don't actually care about what's going on. Stop posting one thing. It's like, I'd rather her not post anything than post one little thing and act like she cares. So I definitely think that just goes for anybody. Like, if you don't actually care, just don't do anything. Like, you're just doing it because you want to look like a good person. And the fact that she personally reached out to me and was like, you need to stop posting what you post on social media. That's what frustrates me. Because it's like, how is my content bothering you? I was posting about, you know, what's going on in the Black community. I was posting about what's going on in the Asian community. I post about other POC issues, other world issues, and that just seems to bother a lot of people. I've had people come up to me when the whole karma situation happened. They're like, you exposed one of my favorite TikTokers. Like, that actually happened to me. Like, I exposed one of your fake Asian TikTokers. Sorry. Like, what are you going to do? Beat me for it? But, you know, I definitely think going back, I know I kind of went off track, my bad. But
no, girl, you man, I'm over here giving flowers to you. I'm talking about Kara off because you're making me cry. Shut up. Keep going. Keep going.
It's just like at the end of it, like, I am in constant fear of who I am growing up to be. Like my tattoo. I kind of got one stupid tattoo, but my other one is meaningful to me. It's, you know, the year of the sheep, because I'm born the year of the sheep, 2003. And I remember this white boy. He was like, are you that one girl from that one TikTok? And I knew exactly what TikTok he was talking about. It was someone mocking me, and I got death threats from that TikTok. But I was like, yeah, it's pretty meaningful. He goes, that's a pretty stupid tattoo. So it's like, even though that really, like, he's just insulting my culture. I purposely got a sheep tattoo for what, like, you know, something that is important to me, because that's what I grew up around, you know, the Chinese zodiac. That's, you know, a lot of Chinese people are very like feng shui, very like not stereotypical, what's the word? They're very traditional, but that's the only really traditional view that I still have, is like, you know, my Chinese zodiac. And like the fact that somebody took the time out of their day to be like, that is a stupid tattoo. Sir, you have the American flag tattooed on your back. I don't want to hear it. Like, how are you gonna call my tattoo stupid when you have a little flag on the back, like right here? Like, anyway, I'm boring. But yeah, it's just people. If I could just, my friend always says this. He's like, because he's like, I thought about this, and I still really don't understand his point. But he's like 6 foot. He's Asian. He's like, he's a football player. He's like, I'd rather get hate crime than an elderly Asian person, because I would be able to fight back. And I thought about that, and I was like, you know, me too. Like, as bad as that sounds, I'd rather be able to, because, like, you know, their bodies are slowing. They're not able to, I guess, defend themselves. And, like, obviously I don't want anything to happen to me. I don't want anything to happen to my friend. But I'm the type of person who's like, I'd rather something happen to me than somebody I love. And everybody in the Asian community is super like close to each other. Like, my neighbor owns a Pacific Ocean market. Also, my friend's aunt, and I'm really close to that friend. Like, everybody in the Asian community is super close. So, like, it's like, I'd rather, as bad as it sounds, and I feel like Casper is going to punch me for this, I'd rather have something happen to me than somebody I love. And as bad as that sounds, like, that's true. And I don't know how depressing that is or how bad that is to say, but I'd rather just have other people safe than, and yeah, that's all. I just hate people. That's all.
I understand what you mean. I know Casper might have something to say, but I understand what you mean, that you would rather it happen to you than it happen to somebody you love, or like you guys as elders. Because like me personally, like I would rather have a racist come at me, try something with me, than come at somebody I love. And if you get, from what I understand from talking to you, you guys hold your elders in such high regard. And that's what these sick, pardon my language, I've been trying to be good, but these sick fucks have, that's all they have the balls to do, is to try to go for the ones that they deem weak. And they're cowards. Let's say they're not going to go after a young, able-bodied person because they're cowards. But I totally understand what you're saying.
And also, I feel like in cases like this, and I feel like this is a question we can all be honest about in this space, but when stuff like this happens, dude, even like that little kid, man, and she knows, I mean, the rest of y'all that have seen my niece, but Mel's actually the only one that's been able to hold our niece. Yo, Lyric, man, I'm telling y'all something. If something happens to my little chipmunk, I'm going to full-time prison ministry. Like, I'm so serious. Like, that sounds terrible. Like, and that goes for her. That goes for everybody on the screen. I'm over here, and I think it's because in a lot of senses, and this is why, like, and this isn't me to condemn you by any means, E. So I hope you know that this isn't out of judgment. This is just out of love and understanding when I'm saying this. Is like, I think it's because we already have gotten the death threats. We're like, well, where's death at then? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like not to be on some morbid stuff, but like, it's like, y'all already threatened me. Okay, I went through the fear of that. Like, you know, death is finite. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, like, other POCs, other, you know, melanated folk on the screen and in the background, because the Moors are sitting over there probably playing chess. What do they do?
No, actually, to the contrary. You know, Emily, many times it's so funny the way we grow up in this country with an assortment of people. We always feel that one group gets more favoritism than the other, and then we don't know what each group goes through, because when we go back to our communities, there's no one there to tell our individual stories, and it's crazy. But I just want to bring this point up. I truly understand what you mean by you would rather have someone confront you with some stupid racist rant to threaten you than the elderly, because of course we know the elderly are past their prime, but if they were to try and mess with you, they're going to have a run for their money. And especially since we're walking like ready, you know what I'm saying? We're walking like ready. If that person comes up to me, they're very prepared for two things: either run or meet Jesus, however that works out. Um, I work in the Jewish community, and the Jewish community, they have started to arm themselves because they were receiving hate crime also. And just like last year, we saw a lot of African Americans do the same thing. I would not be surprised if the Asian community does the same thing. And I wonder where the congressmen, the senators, the president, where are they? Where are they just saying, hey, you know what? This is a power keg waiting to explode, and we're going to have a real problem on our hands. Like, who has to be the next group that gets attacked before Congress? Someone says, hey, listen, we need to really be for real about this stuff. You know, because it's not cool that, yeah, you know, you have a white supremacist family move next to you, and then all of a sudden their kid want to do something stupid. And because unfortunately we live in a racist country, that the cops going to say, oh, you know, he's having a bad day. You have to understand his, you know, his whatever he has. But that doesn't excuse them. And you know what's also another thing? Especially we as of people of color, we're so afraid to defend ourselves because we have the court system against us. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're afraid that if we defend ourselves and we get the upper hand, that somehow our sentence from the court is going to be so much harder, even though we're the victim. And I think that's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. But sometimes I say it's not until like a vigilante rises up then that's when we're going to have, oh, we need to draw another bill for anti-white hate crime or some crap.
Oh,
But it's just so
Jesus.
I mean, truly, bro. Listen, I'm sorry, go way back. When you look at Timothy McVeigh, like, what is the FBI doing? The only reason the FBI started to move their feet is because the Capitol got attacked. Timothy McVeigh blew up a building in Oklahoma. We knew about him, they did nothing. Branch Davidian in Waco, Texas, they knew about him, they did nothing. Jim Jones went to from one place went to Guyana. They knew about him, they did nothing. But now some people stormed the Capitol. Oh, now the FBI is on the job.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why wait? These people have all their hate stuff all over social media. Why wait until they actually do something? If they're planning or plotting, that's enough. That conspiracy. And then you have these little people here. Oh, well, let's get the Asian people because of coronavirus. Like, listen, you idiot. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. They're here going through it just like us. How is it their fault? It's the government's. You know, that's like us going from here to France and we get beat up because we're American. It's not me. It's my government that's the problem. You know, and who made you the police to be judge, jury, and executioner? How does that make sense? But it's very sad, and you know, I'm happy. When I say happy, I'm fortunate to hear your story because I never knew how much was happening against the Asian community for such a long time. And I think because, you know, your group, honestly, you know, we say in the hood, you guys are the invisible group, what they call the model minority. And it's like, no one hears your story, what you guys are actually going through, you know, not being the ones to start trouble or whatever, you know. And it's sad that people take advantage of that too and just say, hey, let's just scrap on them next. It's very sad. But, you know, I thank you for your strength because you're giving your community a voice and you're actually educating me, you know. And I also would like to be more vigilant also myself. If I see something that I can do something, get involved. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's just heavy, man. It's just heavy. I think. Oh, Jess, you had something? Oh, you were inching toward. Were you going towards that comment section? Don't worry. But yeah, what you got, Ty?
Yeah. So, Emily, I'm with you because, listen, because okay, so TikTok's kind of hard to watch sometimes because it's like I'll just be scrolling through my newsfeed. All of a sudden, I see a elderly Asian person just get punched in the face, get knocked out for no reason. They just walking, bam, and I'm just like, yo, like that was my grandma and my ooh, telling you. But yeah, man, I think that's just human emotion. Like if you really care for someone and they get threatened, hurt by someone else, you're gonna want to like do something to that person that hurt or threatened them. Like that's just how it is, and you don't have to feel bad for feeling that way because honestly, like you know, I had so much hatred for what's his name, Chauvin, when I saw the footage of George Floyd getting killed. I had so much hatred because I'm like, yo, like it's wild, but yeah, I totally get it, and it's like me and my girlfriend, we were talking the other day, and you know, because she just lost a dog, you know, her dog she had for like 13 years, and I was saying like, if anyone even did something to my dog, ooh, man, you know, so yeah, I get what you're saying, Emily, and just know that we stand with you as brothers and sisters here, and that we uplift you as a person, as well as, you know, all our other brothers and sisters in the Asian American community. Because, like I said, it goes back to looking past race and seeing people as people. And as long as we do that, we will be able to respect each other. We'll be able to love one another, care for one another. And I think that that's really lost right now. But I think that more people are being awakened to the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, yes, we all live different races. We may have different cultures, different ways we live, different ways we talk, dress, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, when you strip all that away, we're people. So for you, Emily, just know that you're not alone in this fight. That we as people, a part of, you know, the Black community, Mexican community, Hispanic community, whatever community, we stand with you. And I think that that's, at the end of the day, that's what people like Dr. Martin Luther King fought for. He fought for the rights of all people, no matter your skin color. You know, like judge people based on the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. So at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I think if we were to honor that, you know, there would be some big change in this world. And I think that's what's happening, honestly. Like, I think that's really what's happening. And, you know, I think that and I'm pretty sure everyone here can agree, that we are moving towards a better future. It's just that we still have some very bad people in this world that are continuously causing problems and continuously trying to cause division. But we can't get caught up in the hate. You know, we can't get caught up in, you know, all that, the evilness. We can't get caught up in that. We have to stay, like Casper says, we have to continue to lead with love and love people. And if we do that, I think there's going to be some real change in this world.
So this is a curious question, and I want the women to answer this first, because I think that this is like something that's kind of important, because, and also we want to be able to get like different experiences, because even in sense, like there's such and Uncle Rudy could attest to this, there's such a diversity with all the women on the panel, for instance, like Mel being Panamanian and El Salvadorian, correct? Yes. And Black as well. Jess being Black, and do you want me to say the other one? No, I'm kidding. You're a Black woman to me. E being Okinawan and Chinese, unless Okinawan is Chinese, right? I don't know. Oh, I'm still learning. I'm so sorry.
Okinawan is Japanese.
Okay, good. Hey, that's why I'd rather ask and be corrected if need to be. You know what I'm saying? And then just hearing, like, because I know Aunt Tamisha, just from our Zoom calls and everything like that. And then the men can go last. You know what I'm saying? I want our queens to be able to speak during this question. But what in, like, when I say like inhumane, you know what I'm saying? Like, what like expectations were you guys that was put on you? Like E, I know, like, just from like some of the conversations we've had, but then like with some of the representation I have with some of my American brothers and sisters of Asian descent, when they talk about, you know, you gotta be the smartest, you gotta be docile, you gotta be quiet, you can't disrupt the norms, you gotta respect your elders. I'm not old, okay? I'm gonna call you out on that. You called me an elder last week. I'm gonna knock you out. But and either one of you guys can go first between Aunt Tamisha, Jess, Mel, and E. What does it mean to you to be like in your own individualism? Like, you know, don't speak for other Black women, don't speak for other Hispanic women, don't speak for other East Asian women. Tell us what it is like for you as an individual woman of color, like these expectations and markers that you guys have to hit. And either one of y'all can go first. Ty, Uncle Rudy. We might as well just eat some hot wings in the back. And I'm gonna go deal with these goofies in the comment section. I'll be right back. Y'all go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. Me being a Black woman and a mixed woman, I was expected to be overtly feminine, especially since I'm very tall. I was expected to wear dresses and wear makeup and not cuss. That didn't work out very well. I was also expected to be submissive, especially to men, white men particularly. And that really did a lot of damage to me growing up, because I ended up getting into relationships with the wrong type of men, because I thought that was my role, was to be submissive. I thought that I didn't have a voice. Basically all the expectations that were put on me was to silence me. And that's extremely detrimental to anyone. I'm also held to a higher standard as far as education. I'm supposed to know everything. Otherwise, I know absolutely nothing. If I'm speaking on issues in the Black community, racism, social injustice, period, I'm expected to know everything about everything. And it's annoying. And I also get put in this bubble because I'm a single mother. So I get seen as a baby mama and all this other type of problematic shit, when like a lot of y'all come from a single mother. But why are you judging me? But yeah, that's just my experience.
Come on, queens. Don't make me pick. I'll pick. Aunt Tamisha, I'm feeling kind of froggy. Don't make me jump for you first.
I guess I'll go next just because I don't want. I would say growing up Afro-Latina, there was just a lot of expectations. It's like from the moment I learned how to walk and talk, it's like you're supposed to learn how to be a matriarch, meaning know how to keep a household, know how to clean. I remember being told one day you need to know how to cook so that way you can feed your husband and your children. And I remember saying to my mom, my husband will be grateful that I even took his last name. What the hell does he need a home cooked meal for? Like, I just was very defiant and just that being my role. And in a sense, being submissive and just fighting the whole, I don't want to be just a wife and a mother. I want to be a wife, a mother, but also a career woman. So that was one expectation I had. And then this was something Emily said, and I almost started crying because I was like, oh, I remember that too. And sometimes I go through a reflection period. It can last from a day or a week or a month. And during this reflection period, I remember a time in my life where I just absolutely hated how I looked, because I remember, I just remember thinking I am not good enough, because I remember being around people that would tell me, well, you would be prettier if you would straighten your hair, because my hair is naturally curly. So I remember people telling me, well, you would be prettier if you straightened your hair. You would be prettier if you wore this, or you would be prettier if you, had makeup on. So just being told how to be prettier, but not being told how to be pretty with my own natural looks. And and a lot of these things that I was hearing was from other people in the Latinx community. So during this reflection period, I was questioning, why did this hurt me so much? And then I realized it hurt me so much because I was hearing it from other Latinas that were fair-skinned and or could be white passing. So for me, I took it as, so you're telling me unless I look like you, I'm not desirable. So, and I remember there was a point where I had gum in my hair, because I remember girls sticking gum in my hair and being shouted out and being called a morena, which means black in Spanish, and just crying and thinking, why couldn't I be born lighter or white passing? Why couldn't I be born with straight hair? Why couldn't I be born with light colored eyes? Like, I just, for the longest, kept thinking I am ugly. And that was hard, like seeing like my other cousins on my biological dad's side of the family, like they were light skinned with straight hair, and I kept thinking, why couldn't I look like that? Like, and that used to bother me, because and I remember there was a point where I did not want to have my hair curly, because I kept thinking, people think this is ugly. I kept thinking, if I straighten my hair all the time, then I'll feel happier. But I wasn't, because I felt like I was stripping my identity. And it took me a really long time to feel comfortable with my skin tone or my hair texture and just even my body type. And I remember just trying to do things to make myself more appealing until my grandfather told me, it doesn't matter how much you try to look white. It doesn't matter what hobbies you change. It doesn't matter if you change your last name and marry a white man, you are still Black. It doesn't matter what you do to change yourself, you are still Black. And I don't want you to look at that as something to be ashamed of. It doesn't matter whose last name you have in this life, you are still you. And I don't want anybody ever to make you feel like you are less than. And then that's when the reflection period ended. I was like, I have my own personal biases against fair-skinned and or white-passing Latinas because I was hurt by many of them being told you have to do this, that, and a third to be beautiful. And I never once had them tell me, you're beautiful just as you are. And I realized I cannot condemn those women who happen to look like that because those were certain individuals that said that, but the whole entire community didn't tell me I was ugly. Only those women made me feel ugly, but everyone else didn't say that. So that is a prejudice I have to deal with and, accept. And also another struggle is being told, oh, English was your first language, so you're not really Hispanic. And I'm like, just because English was my first language and I'm still learning Spanish, that does not make me less of what I am. Unless I denounce what my culture is, please do not tell me what I am. I still like my empanadas. I still love my pupusas. I still love horchata. I still like Enrique Iglesias. I still like Lin-Manuel Miranda. I still like dancing bachata. But just because I do not have an accent does not mean I do not care about what I am. You cannot tell me how to be Latina. And I remember just being angry at people saying, well, you're not the spicy, fiery type. I'm like, because that's not me. At best, I am lukewarm, but I am not a fiery Latina. What you see is a caricature, but do not place all of us into that. Not all of us are loud. Not all of us are flirtatious. Some of them don't even know how to cook. So please do not expect a white.
I'm sorry.
Real quick.
What in the world?
Don't you find it weird how people try to conform you into fitting their fetishes?
Yes,
y'all fetishize spicy Latino women, submissive Asian women. I don't know how to put it, but they fetishize, like mixed people like me, where they think they get the best of both worlds. We have a Black woman's body and a Black woman's looks, but we act like white girls. I think the fuck not. I will still cuss you out.
Yes, and I remember
it's gross.
It was just like, no, that is not me. I remember in high school, I kept hearing guys say, I need me a Latina because she's going to be a ride or die and do this, that, and the third. I'm like, who are you? No, that is not all of us. I'm going to just be chilling, watching anime, hoping the next day will be good. I'm sorry, I don't fit your mold of what a Latina should be, but tell me, what is a real Latina? To me, a Latina is someone that takes pride in where her ancestors come from. Please stop thinking we are all the same, and please stop telling someone whose first language was English that you are Americanized.
I also noticed, like you were saying that you're mixed. I also noticed that a lot of times when we're mixed, whomever we're raised with, our features from the other race get demonized. Like, I was told, you're pretty for a black girl, or you're pretty for a big girl. And like, it's, I don't know if you experienced that, but it sounds like you did, with them talking about your hair texture and everything like that. Like, don't demonize part of who I am, because that causes a huge identity crisis in us growing up.
Well, actually, I grew up with my mom, so I get my skin tone from my mother, who's Panamanian and black. So my mom never demonized my hair. When I would spend time with my biological father's side of the family, I would get demonized. Like, my biological father did not know how to do my hair. At some point, he got so frustrated, he would take me to a hair salon and get it straightened, so that way he did not have to deal with how to manage my hair. And I remember, like, I went to visit my mom recently in Maryland, and we were talking about how when I was born, my grandma on that side of the family did not think I belonged to my biological father because I came out this skin tone. And I have a birthmark right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have a birthmark right there. And my biological father has the exact same birthmark, the exact same shape, the exact same skin tone. So that was the only way to prove I was his child. And I remember asking my mom, would he have loved me more or accepted me more if I came out looking like him? And she was quiet. And her silence kind of confirmed what I kind of knew, but I just wanted to hear it from her. And I just remember her saying, does that change anything for you? I was like, well, I kind of already knew the answer, but I can kind of make peace with what I already know, what I already felt. So that was just, in a way, closure for me and just acceptance. It's like, okay, I know it, and now I can move on from it.
E, what about you? What you got for me, E? And Tamisha, you ain't off the hook either, girly. What y'all got for me?
Oh, I'm going first. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of grew up hating myself. I grew up with a pretty traditional Asian aunt who was born in mainland China, and she still had the, the stereotypes in her that she has 2 boys, she doesn't have any girls, and there's not as many stereotypes of boys than there are girls. And, she would always comment on my weight, that I need to be skinnier, that, I was always underweight. I was always underweight as a kid, like no true medical issues. I was just always underweight. And she would always comment on how I had to lose weight. Like, as an elementary schooler, that's pretty damaging to hear. And so, just hearing those types of words like, oh, you need to lose weight, you need to eat less, that doesn't feel good, surprisingly. But, that's what led me into my eating disorder for almost 3 years. Because I never felt pretty enough, because, I saw this TikTok and I related to it a lot, where it's like, I'm an Asian American living in America, and I have 2 different beauty standards to live up to. The very white one, and also the very Asian one. And there's really no, box that I fit into. And like, as much as I shouldn't want to fit in a box, I do, because I don't want to be, looked at as different. And like, as sad as that is to admit, like, I'm always talking about like my culture, my ethnicity, love yourself. Do I truly love myself for who I am? Because I'm always like, how can I make myself feel prettier? Because I always never felt pretty. And then also with the same aunt, like, she would always comment, I never had an issue with acne, but I had a major issue. Like, whenever I get acne spots, she'd always like comment on it and also try to give us remedies how to like get rid of them, which was like Chinese medicine, which I get like it's probably better than westernized medicine, but still, an 11-year-old should not have to have a bunch of like skincare things to try to get rid of acne. Like, acne is natural, it's normal. But I grew up with the mindset where it's like, I can't have acne, I need to cover it up. And then Yeah, again, like with the whole eating thing, like I still have trouble eating, a normal day-to-day consistent schedule because I still have that mentality where it's like I need to be skinnier. And then also because my mom's from Okinawa, which is like, it's more tropical there, and like the people there have darker complexions than like other East Asians. So I have that gene from my mom, and I look very pasty white on camera. But over the summer I tan easily, my sister tans easily. My aunt would like be like, "Oh, you guys are so dark. Stay out of the sun." Like we were kids. We would like playing outside. We would like going to the pool. We like going to the lake. We like biking. And so, hearing those words where it's like you need to like look lighter. You need to lighten yourself. Like who tells like elementary school and middle schoolers that? It's not okay. Like, so I just grew up with a lot of standards where it's like I didn't want to love myself, and I'm not gonna cry because my makeup looks good. No crying. The eyeliner, yeah.
It's on point. I love it.
Thank you. We're not crying this off. We're not trying to put streaks in my foundation. But, I used to be a little emo kid. I used to do my makeup very like dark, on the eyes. And my aunt would be like, "Nope, pretty Asian girls don't do that." Like, what do you mean pretty Asian girls? Like, is there like a standard for how we're supposed to do our makeup? And then she gave me pink eyeshadow, but like not like a cute pink, like Barbie, gross, nasty, doesn't blend well pink. And regarding school, I always got like, "Oh, you're Asian. You're Asian. You're supposed to like be smart." I was like good at math, but I was never the best. Like I take pre-calc 3 for 3 semesters instead of 2 because I did really bad. That's also on my teacher's fault. But I always got comments even now where it's like, "Oh, you're Asian, you're supposed to be good at math, haha," and like they'll take it as a joke, but that's just like such a harmful stereotype because like I still carry this with me where it's like I'm not as good as other Asians because I'm not good at math. I'm not good at all academics. Because I was always excelled at like art and music, like. But I never felt pretty, and I always got the comments where it's like, "You're pretty for an Asian girl." Like, what's that supposed to mean? I'm pretty for an Asian girl? Like, what do you mean by that? And then, I've talked about this on the podcast, but I'll just bring it up again. My ex's mom wanted a Asian baby. She wanted an Asian and white baby. Oh, yeah.
That's so weird. I can't get over it. It's so weird.
Like why she like I was 16. She wanted me to have a kid with her 19-year-old son. Like I was a 16-year-old. Like how do you think that's okay? I still like I in my own life plans, kids are not there. Like, sorry. But like why does she want like why do white people think it's okay to be like, "I want this and you Asian person can give me that. So give it to me." Like I don't want to have a kid with your son. Like gross, first off.
I remember a few times by 2 different dudes saying if we had kids, they would look exotic. Remember hearing that comment. And then another person saying, "Oh, if we had kids, they would have good hair because of your genes." I'm like, what is good hair? Please elaborate. What the heck is good hair? And also, this is just my hair texture. We do not know how our child's hair would turn out to be because, believe it or not, America, I have met other Latinos whose hair texture is 4C. Yes, I used to work at a hair salon. That is a thing. Please stop assuming that every Latino has straight hair. That is not always the case. And also, just because if you're just dating someone of a different race just to have exotic looking babies, please reevaluate your whole life. Because tell me, what is an exotic baby? And why are you fetishizing your wife when you should just value her for who she is as an individual? Like, tell me, who hurt you? Who hurt you?
And like the stereotype with Asian women, how we're all submissive. Like, no, we're not. If you say something wrong, I will smack you. Like, no. They're like, "Oh my God, Asian women are so submissive." Like, where? Tell me where. like the number one thing searched up in the adult film industry was Asian and Japanese. I forgot the name of the guy who went to Asia and like sold films of Asian women. Forgot his name.
Bond.
Yeah, David Bond. Thank you. Why do we have so many David Bonds? Just like little David Bonds. Like we don't need you guys. Also, first off, who said that any Asian or any POC woman wants you? Who said that? Literally nobody. I just want a man.
Say it again. Say it again.
Who said that any POC woman wants you? Who said? And that even goes for men. Like, the people that fetishize Asian, like K-pop people. Who said if you go to Korea, they're gonna be walking around the street? Who? No, nobody. I'm sorry. Asians don't fit your stereotypes. I don't fit your stereotype. Every other Asian doesn't fit your stereotype. It's the media that is like trying to conform us into
perpetuating it.
Yeah. So yeah, I grew up, with a lot of like physical issues, mental issues because of family members. Also, just quick thing, when I cut my hair super short, my aunt was like, pretty girls aren't supposed to do that. Because, you're supposed to have long hair because long hair symbolized that you didn't work in the rice fields and you weren't poor.
Okay.
Sorry, we aren't in ancient China right now. But that's all I have to say.
This Oh, sorry.
We gotta get Auntie in Newark in real quick. Auntie Tamisha, what you got for me? Don't be hiding in the background.
Me growing up, I was always told I was ugly, so that was the norm in the house because my hair didn't grow as long as my sister's. And I got darker than my sisters. Like in the summertime, you go out and you get in the sun, and of course you tan. I tan to my father's complexion. My father is very dark skinned. And, I would get things like, oh, where's Tamisha? Like they can't see me. And things like that. And, and I'm there like, hey, I'm right here, and then they're, oh, I didn't even realize it was you, so that was one thing in itself. I was constantly called fat. And I was not fat. I was a very skinny kid growing up. I had to grow to my teeth, let's put it that way. And, my mom always used to say things like, I'll cut your nose off to spite your face. And it's like, I used to wonder, what is her problem? What's wrong with this woman? And my mother, very beautiful, attractive woman, but very deeply depressed woman. Because in her family, she was on the run herself. She married my dad when she was 17. And she's trying to get away from her family. And, she was pregnant with me. And it was, a lot of issues, in the house. I was the one who got beat all the time, with a extension cord, a stick, whatever she could pick up, I got it. I used to get hit in the head a lot with pots and metal spoons. And, these are the things that I dealt with. And I asked God, I said, what is this, man? What did I do to deserve this? Everything I did, it wasn't happy for them. And this is the trauma that I had to deal with. When my mother got upset, she would make me hang from the top of the door, and then she would slam the door over my fingers. Thank God they never got broken. But this is what I'm talking about. And people will say, oh, no one could ever be like that. But I'm like, it happens. It really does. Just in my case, I didn't die, but I lived with the scars. Getting put in a closet and the door locked, and you're in there for almost a whole day. No food, no nothing. Um, but it's because of what she went through, and she never got any kind of help for that. So I had to take the brunt of what was happening until finally, when I turned 18, I spoke up and I told her, look, I'm sick and tired of you beating me. You beat me for no reason, and you know you have no reason to beat me. And her answer to that was to push me, and I fell into the tub. Um, like my back, I fell back into the tub, so I hurt my back. And she tried not to hit me anymore because her thing was, I don't care, I will beat you until you're 99. Um, and from that, I had to live with that. So while I'm walking the street, I'm already thinking I'm ugly. I'm already thinking I have all kinds of issues. And the energy you put out, it's like you're attracting the wrong type of people to you, and that's what was happening for me. And I had to stand up and say, no, I am not doing this. This is not happening. If these guys are losers, I'm not talking to them. Okay. But I was like, I want to find someone that will love me for me. And I did fall in love with somebody, and he was in the Navy, and everything was going well, but he had a very jealous best friend who didn't want me to be around him. Um, so he set him up on a date with another woman um, in Virginia. It was when they have Freaknik. That was a sorority. It was like big sorority parties that they had in the spring. Yeah, they canceled those. But the thing is that, you know, after that, I that's when I found out I was pregnant. And I remember saying to myself when I went to the clinic, because I was wondering why was I gaining weight. And they told me I was pregnant. And I kid you not, I was very angry and bitter. And I said, no way. Because I was upset that, number one, the relationship didn't work. Number two, there wasn't going to be that family unit. And I was being very selfish. I wish I never did that. But, I had an abortion, and I was like, no, I'm not having a child. I'm not bringing a child into this world. And I don't have that family unit. Um, After that, then that was another scar, because people tell you can have an abortion and you forget about it. There's nothing to worry about. And that's a lie. That's a damn lie. Um, you live with that. And every time you think about it, you think about the time that child was supposed to be born. You think about how old they would have been. And that's why when it comes to abortion, uh, I don't have good things to say about the people that be outside those clinics. Um, it's just that it's a lot. It was a lot being me and walking around feeling ostracized, and people looking at me, especially men, who were thinking, oh, easy target, until I figure out what's wrong with them. And then I'm like, no, that's not happening here. And I remember, just saying, I can't keep doing this. So, yeah, I deal with depression. I deal with being hurt. I deal with certain things coming up. There are mornings I wake up, I don't even want to be bothered, you know. And the thing is that I said, I have to do better. I have to have the outlet to speak and talk about this because it's a problem. And and when you're standing up there and you're feeling like, well, my hair is like super kinky and my face don't look right and nothing about me looks right. It's like, where do you go? And it doesn't matter how much people tell you they love you. If you don't love you, it's going to be a problem. It took me a long time to even get to that point, you know, and that happened little by little through my marriage. Because if I didn't learn then, I don't think I would have been married at all. So, for me, it was constant. And it doesn't help when you have three more sisters right behind you who are dealing with the same trauma, same problems. And then you have to talk to them and try and help them. So, walking this earth with all the things that are going on, sometimes I sit there and I just close up because it's like I don't know what to do or say. And it's very hurtful. And I said that if I ever did have a daughter, I wanted to make sure she didn't go through any of this or my son. But I didn't have children. So when I do take care of other people's children, I make sure they know that they're loved and they're cared for because, it's just horrible. And, if going from your mother, your grandmother, and all these people calling you names, telling you all kinds of rotten stuff, it's like, what do you do, So for me, it was a process. And I'm telling you, years. And this is without me going to a therapist. Okay? Me, a lot of the stuff I had to work on myself. A lot of it was in writing and poetry and all kinds of stuff. And it's so funny because my poetry books, I had a lot of them. Rudy saw them, but for some reason they got lost. I could not find them after a while. All the writings that I wrote and what I went through, it was in those books. And I said to myself, maybe it's a good thing I lost them because I don't know what else was written in there. And today, when I see the things that I see, especially for Black women who are called ugly, who are called names, and, just hurt. Sometimes I see those things, I cry for them because it's like, it's rough out here. And, all I could say is we have to seek help. So that way we're able to get through these things. And I'm going to stop there because I do not want to sit up here crying and I don't need to talk about this anymore. Okay.
How about you? I don't know what Uncle Rudy's doing in the back. How about you, Ty? What's it like? What is it like to be a Black and Latino man in this country for you? Like, mentally and everything like that. What toll and taxation did that put on you, brother?
Yeah. To be honest with you, my brother, it didn't really affect me until recently, with everything with the George Floyd thing. Growing up, I didn't really think about my race too much, if I'm just being honest. Even though I knew I was Black and Mexican. as of late, I've just been feeling very, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like I have to fight this fight, not only for myself, but for people that look like me. In particular, we were talking earlier about my nephew Dre. I feel like I have to fight this fight for him because he's growing. And before I know it, he's going to be a teenager and then he's going to be a young man. And I don't want him to live in a world where he has to worry about police. He can get shot by the police, or doesn't have to worry about a white supremacist coming up to him and doing something bad to him. For me, I know that I have light skin privilege, obviously, and I have to stand up for my brothers and sisters who are darker than me, because it's they're the ones who really get targeted the most. It's like Auntie Tamisha was saying earlier, like, especially for dark-skinned Black women, they have it the worst because they're constantly being told because of their skin color,
Hey,
you're
Ty?
ugly, you're this, you're that. Yeah.
Hey, Ty, I get what you're doing for advocating for my sisters, but brother, I just want you to speak for you, man. I mean, like, this is not to be like ignorant when I say this, but we want to know what it's like for Tyler, the Latin Black brethren that we loved, grown to know and love, man. Speak for you, brother. We don't need everybody else got a soapbox. I ain't calling it a soapbox, but brother, speak to you and your experience, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't disparage your own experience to advocate for another. Come on, brother.
Got you. I have a tendency to do that a lot, and Casper corrects me a lot when I do that. Okay, so for me, just speaking for me, I know that I have things that are going against me just as a man of color in this country. I thank God that my dad raised me the way he raised me. He raised me because he was a correctional officer for most of my life. He raised me to follow the law. He raised me whenever I get approached by a police officer to not be confrontational, to try to be as respectful as I can, even though, I've been stopped for no reason, been checked, for no reason. And, I not to say that if I do that every time, the outcome's going to be the same every time, because who knows, I could run into just a bad cop one day who just feels like arresting a young Black man. That could happen. Or even killing a young Black man. That could happen. I'm well aware of that. But at the end of the day, for me, I have to do the best I can in this world to set the best example I can set. And it's like how Casper always says that being a Christian first and a Black man second means I have to move differently. I can't let my race or the color of my skin dictate my actions. I have to let what the Bible says. I have to let Christ dictate my actions. So that doesn't apply to everybody, but I'm just speaking for me. That I have to, as a Black man in this country, I have to follow what the Word of God says, because I am a Christian man first. So the Bible is my authority. The Bible is my instruction. The Bible is my manual. The Bible is my thing that I live my life by. So just seeing the examples of Jesus and what he did for social justice, what he did to stand up against oppression, what he did, and even people that believed in him, what they did, such as Moses, such as whoever you want to pull out the Bible, what they did, that's my example of how I move as a Black man in this country. So for me, it's all about not letting my race be the first thing, but letting my Christianity be the first thing that people see. So people are going to judge me however they want, and I can't control that. I can't change people's minds of how they may perceive me. They may think, oh, look at him, he's just a little thug, or look at him, he's up to no good because of the color of my skin, because that's what we get labeled as. We are automatically under the assumption that, oh, they're up to no good because of what media shows how we are. Not all of us, but they take those specific Black people or Mexican people or whatever it may be, and they label us as criminals, as thugs, as whatever, right? Especially when 45 was in office, he didn't do no good by calling Mexicans rapists and murderers and all that kind of stuff. He didn't do no good with that. But that's really how people who are racist, people who are, under that white supremacist umbrella. That's how they see us. And that's what they label us. And that's what the media tries to label us as well. So for me, I can't live my life by that. I gotta live my life in a different way. So regardless of what people think about me as a young Black, brown man in this country, I have to move by the example that God sets for me. And that's just what it is for me. As far as racism, I haven't faced any direct racism, as in like anybody threatening me to my face or calling me the N-word with hard R to my face. But I know that there's other people that do face that on a daily basis. But for me, it's like, just because you're not going through something doesn't mean that you can't have empathy for other people who are going through those things. So just because I've never had cops with guns out in my face threatening me, threatening my life, or just because I've never had a racist person come up to my face and call me the N-word or threaten my life or whatever it may be, doesn't mean I can't feel for my brothers and sisters who are going through those kind of things. So for me, I just take a huge stand for what I believe in Black Lives Matter, because at the end of the day, Black lives should matter, and that's what we're fighting for. So for me, that's what I gotta fight for that. I have to, because that's what the Bible tells me as well. And regardless of what people want to think, that's exactly what the Bible tells me to do. Stand up for the oppressed. Stand up for those who are going through injustice. So that's just me as a Black, brown man in this country. And just to make it clear, I wasn't raised Black. I was raised more with my Mexican side of the family. So I wasn't raised studying, Black culture, or I wasn't raised reading books about Black leaders. I wasn't raised with these things, although I knew about these things. Of course, growing up in school, they don't teach you about Black culture. So for me, it's my responsibility now to do that research. It's my responsibility now to look back on those things and look at the examples that people like Martin Luther King set, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, whoever, the great leaders that came before me. It's my responsibility to look back and see what they did and to carry that torch, and thank God for those men and women, because their sacrifice really opened a lot of doors for what we're seeing now. So yeah, man, at the end of the day, whether I face racism directly to my face or not, I know that racism is real. I know that there's people out there that will hate me solely because of the color of my skin. And I know that I have to fight against the evils of racism, because it's evil at the end of the day. If anyone wants is different, they don't know what they're talking about. Racism is evil, and we need to fight against these things, because at the end of the day, we're people. I'm a person just like anybody else, no better, no worse. And at the end of the day, it's just what I gotta do, my brother. And Casper is responsible for all this. Casper is responsible for my transformation. You know what I'm saying? So
God did all that. Be quiet, all that. Keep mind your business. Keep them flowers over there, Black man. Shut up.
Nah, but I was telling Casper last night, we were talking on the phone, that he has been a huge encouragement to me. And not only that, but everybody in Divinity, everybody that I've met, from Sister Jessica to Auntie Maya to Auntie Tamisha to Uncle Rudy to just everybody that I've met over just recently.
We can't forget our little Fred Hampton in the train, and E over here. She over here like, man, I'm flipping tables. I'm making people upset. You know what I'm saying?
No, everybody that I've had the pleasure of meeting, whether it's been on this podcast, it's been in Divinity, whatever it is, I've learned so much from everybody, and all you guys have treated me with nothing but respect and love, and it's been awesome. Like God's really blessed me with a great family, and even though we ain't blood, we're still family, because we love each other, and we're united for one cause, which is to make this world a better place, to make sure that the next generation doesn't have to deal with the crap that we're dealing with right now. that's what we're fighting for. And I think that everybody, from Jessica to Casper to Auntie Tamisha, Uncle Rudy, Emily, everybody, Twas written, everybody that is here right now and everybody that's involved in the fight that we're doing has been a huge blessing and has been an encouragement for me as a Black brown man in this country.
Last but certainly not least, the more he popped up on camera. Okay, Big Pimpin' showed up on camera glowing. Okay. What you got for me, Unc? What is it like? What is it like for you? Like when we talk about like the Black experience, you also being from Barbados, like what is it like? Like what toll and taxation does it play on you growing up in this country? Being like what you're built with, brother.
I've only been called the N-word one time by two white kids. And it's funny, I have my head shaved now, but this was when I was in my 20s. My hair was very, very curly, So they couldn't tell what I was. They didn't know if I was Black, so they called me the N-word. They didn't know if I was Spanish, so they called me something derogatory. And they couldn't tell if I was a Sicilian. They called me what people might call a Nick. We might think Knicks and Knickerbockers the basketball team, but they call you a Nick or a Guinea. That's also a derogatory name for Southern people from South Italy, Sicilians. And that has ever been my only experience. I went to a white school, Lafayette, in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. This is in the 1980s. The 1980s when you would say racism is supposed to be horrible. People getting lynched and stuff, but I never had that happen to me. I do find it astonishing that the time I could say this based on watching a lot of civil rights documentaries, especially. I kind of keep away from the movies. That it does seem that the time has been turned back for whatever reason. But from my personal experience, I've never experienced anything like that. But going to your original question, what were the expectations put on me in my family growing up to get a good, finish your education kind of thing, do well in school, always remember who you are, who you represent. You represent the family, and all across the board, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, everyone from here in New York, Canada, Barbados, England, Brussels, wherever we all came back together, that same one thing that was ingrained in us. I never knew I was a Black person until a Black kid made me aware that I'm not acting Black enough. And because of the way I was raised, very conservative, very respectful, the idea, funny enough, I was in a Catholic school until the second grade. They increased the tuition, so mom and dad said they couldn't pay that tuition, so they put me in public school. Public school is when I got to become aware of my color and my mannerisms, because other Black kids made fun of me for speaking proper English, dressing properly or dressing different from them. In New York City back in the 80s, there was a lot of poverty. I had a mom and dad who worked together and made things happen. So my sister and I, we did not go to school, as some people say, in shambles. That's an economic issue that happens to people. What shouldn't happen is people, the little kids now, we're talking about the third grade, badmouth me, badmouth my sister for coming to school clean, having clean shoes, clean socks. We got made fun of. So for me, growing up back then as a Black person, my enemy was not the white man. My enemy was people who looked just like me. I grew up poor. My mom, my sister, my dad, and I grew up in a one-bedroom apartment. But, there's a saying we have in the Caribbean. It's not what you have, but it's how you carry yourself, how you present yourself. In today's world, we say you got one chance to make a great impression. And however that impression is, whatever you bring out. That's what people are going to judge you by until you can show them something different. But even though we live in a one bedroom apartment, 4 people, mom and dad slept in the living room in a pull out couch. My sister had the full size bed. I had a little twin size bed growing up. And we didn't know that we were poor. We had no idea we were poor because we had things that other people said they did not. So I could not complain. I had a family unit where mom, dad, granny, granddaddy, aunts, and uncles we supported one another. My aunt, I think I said it on your podcast the first time you interviewed me a couple months ago. She's the one who challenged my mom, like, hey, get Junior into a better school. Call me Junior to Rudy Jr. because dad is Rudy Sr. She was saying the school in the district was not challenging me. And that's how I wound up going to Lafayette High School, which was a better school. And of course, yeah, not only all black and brown kids there, but it's a collection of different races there. And I was challenged. But that's because in my family, we came together to help one another. So I don't have an extraordinary story of hardship. I have the opposite. And I teach my niece and nephews right now. My niece and nephew, they're 26. And the same way I was raised, I show them the way of morals. I show them the results of morals. My nephew, who was transitioning from different jobs, I explained to him, you need to have a different mindset. Don't just get frustrated and then just walk off the job. You need to do better. And by doing that, he has found something deeper inside of him. And I would say for me, the way it was passed down to me from my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, is the same thing I'm putting into my niece and nephews. Let them know you can be the better person. Yes, people are going to criticize you for one reason or the other. I was criticized for being too decent. Back then that's what we say, oh, being too decent. I wasn't black enough. I wasn't angry enough. I didn't show black power enough. I wasn't outraged enough. I didn't speak slang enough. I didn't do all this stuff. But little did anyone know. Well, they say the dog that barks the loudest in the yard is the one that's the weakest. It's the dog the dog that don't bark at all, you have to watch. Because he's the one who's observing more. And I'm that dog. I'm the one who wanted to join the Black Panther Party to make a difference in my race. I'm the one, like I was telling Baptist one day, hey, I made the change and I went into the gangbangers community to find out why are my youth so intrigued with what you have? What are you giving them that I can't give them? My church, my Jesus can't give them. So I went into enemy territory and I found out what it was. And I brought back the information to the church and say, this is what we need to address. That's how I operate. So if there's anything about me being black, it's to help my people the best way I can. And when I reach out and they reach back, then we can help and work with one another. But if I reach out and they don't reach back, I have to help the one and pull the one up who wish to be helped. And that has been my experience, but I don't have any negative racial experience from white people per se. Been to Florida numerous times with the family. Again, back in 1980s, when it's supposed to be more racist, we never got called. That was nigger family leaving this place or the gas station. We never got called that. Went to Virginia, went to South Carolina. I've been to Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, D.C., been those places. Never been called outside my name. My sister never been called outside her name. So I don't have that experience. And again, that's just me. But deep down inside, I love my people and I try to educate them the best I can. And I say, brother, why are you still wearing the mental chains from the plantation that calls you to call your own brother who wear this skin color outside of his name? Chuck D said it best. The reason why black people kill other black people, what we call black on black crime, is because it's external suicide. Because one man don't love himself, he kills another. Why should two people fight each other? Because, yo, bro, I bumped you by accident. My bad. It's very crowded in the club, right? I'm going to bump into someone. I might want to bump into a lady more so than a man, but that don't mean I need to pull out my nine and just kill someone in the club. Yo, man, you step on my Air Force Ones. Yo, you crazy? I'm going to go to the car and bring back some heat. Why do we do that still? And that's where my angst is, because I hanged out with the thugs, the guys who've been institutionalized in and out of prison, constantly saying, yo, man, we know the deal. We know the deal. No, clearly you don't know the deal. If you're back on the street corner doing the business with no shirt and tie, and you're running from the cops and you're ready to kill another black man who looks just like you don't know the deal. You have not learned your lesson. You're still mentally institutionalized from the plantation to the prison cell and back on the street. So that's where my Black experience came from. In the third grade, being made aware that I was a Black person who was not Black enough, not angry enough, didn't speak the language, and all that stuff. But you know what? I still love my Black people. And I realize it's a systemic racism that has caused them to remain that way. But they also have a responsibility to wake up. Because like I said, I grew up in a one bedroom with 4 people, and I didn't act like any way out of sorts. You would never know. You would never know that we lived in a one bedroom, the way we presented ourselves. And I think a message to Black people, especially, when your chips are down, no matter what income level you are, forget trying to keep up with the Joneses, because the Bible tells us very early in the 10 Commandments, do not covet thy neighbor's possessions. That's a big problem in the Black community, more so, because we want to be like everyone else, and we covet because you want to be like everyone else. You become dissatisfied with the blessings that God gave you, specifically you, that you don't even realize how blessed you are. And you want someone else's blessings? You don't know what God has for them. So my message to the Black community, love yourselves first in spite of everything. And just tone it down a bit. You don't have to be so mad, outrageous to prove that you're Black. People can look at you and know you're Black. You're Black and you're proud, 100%, but damn, tone it down and stop hating on your own people. We say we're people of love, but we don't show that. There's no demonstration of that. We say we're people of Christ, but we don't show that. That's why everyone else can walk all over us, because it's like, if you don't care about you, why should I care about you? So that's my message to the Black community. For anyone listening, it could be outrageous, could be outrage at me. That's quite fine. But at the end of the day, can you look in the mirror and know that you are doing the best to present the very best you, the best version of you possible? And are you working on yourself? Are you working on your purpose? And that's all I gotta say.
Came in and preached a whole sermon and then dipped out. 2-pieced everybody with the word and dipped out. So one thing I'm gonna do and touch on, because I mean, y'all, for those that have been following me for a long time, a lot of y'all kind of already know my story. There's my there's everybody. What is this? I'm also gonna say this real quick. Y'all asking me what to talk about on my podcast when y'all came here, and the facts and information y'all are looking for are probably in other videos. We're clearly not talking about that right now. So go on. God bless you. I'm not going to deal with that because, yeah, I don't know where my moderators are at, but most of them are on screen. It's fine. But yeah, if anybody wants to know my experience, check out the video, Boxing the Barrel I have on my YouTube channel. Just look back through the catalog as far as the podcast goes. But yeah, this was good. And also, I will also say this, for those that listen to this, do not take individual experience and take it and make it into a perception for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say this, the Black experience is not a monolithic experience. The Hispanic experience is not a monolithic experience. Please don't think the same things that bug Emily applies to every other East Asian in the world and everything like that. We are individuals with our own heartbeats and our own heartaches. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I wanted to take the time to kind of just give everybody the time to just share their thoughts, speak out of their heart and everything like that. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, I do have an announcement. On July the 3rd, I am planning on doing something nationwide, essentially in the United States. Pretty much anybody who I have reached with, I'm planning on doing. I'm probably going to do this until I die, essentially. Um, but on July the 3rd, I am planning, something that kind of goes with like my handle and stuff like that. It's the Lead with Love Marathon. We're planning on doing it on July 3rd. Wherever you could be at, if you want to be a part of this, we're going to be celebrating everybody from their ethnic background, their nationalities, their racial background. If you are, if you have Italian blood in you, bring that Italian flag out. If you got some Irish in you, bring that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to assimilate to America's version of you. You are America. You understand me? My sister, E, she's Okinawan and Chinese. Jess, you might have to get your 23andMe test. We don't have to find out. We don't have to get that test. You heard me? You know what I'm saying? She is Panamanian, El Salvadorian. My boy Tyler is Mexican and black. You gotta get your 23andMe too, bro. Out here looking like George Lopez. We didn't find out what part of Africa you were drafted from. Shoot. And just celebrate what makes you, what made you. I feel like a lot of times we have to celebrate a country that doesn't celebrate us. You know what I'm saying? As minorities. Like we have to celebrate and be proud of a country that does not celebrate and be proud of us. You know what I'm saying? We have to take pride in something that doesn't take pride in the things that make America. That's why I say my sister E is America. That's why I say my brother Tyler is America. Why my sister Jessica is America. Why my aunt and uncle Moore in Jersey are America. You know what I'm saying? And I am America, and I intend to show my bloodline, my fingerprint, my song that I have to offer into this country. And I want people to see America for what it really is. This is not a melting pot. This is a salad. A bowl full of carrots does not make it a salad. It's just a bowl full of carrots. Just because you mix all of us together, just like all of us are on screen. And even though E is outnumbered, and that's usually how that happens, I don't know. Either E, I need more Asian friends, or you need more Asian friends. I don't know what's going to happen sooner. I don't know. I said that. I'm just messing with you. And that includes everybody else from the indigenous community, from any other groups of people of color. We want to seek to understand and not be understood, have a seat at this table and learn from one another. And that's what I plan on. What do you say? Stop. I thought you meant running. Huh? What you talk about?
Because you said marathon, so I thought you meant like the running marathon.
No. See, hold on. Let me give you a history.
Do you think I would run anywhere?
Yeah, let me give you a history lesson real quick. Like, marathon, when people see like me put like the marathon flag up in this, that is homage to one of the people that I was a huge fan of while he was alive, and that's Nipsey Hussle. He was very big on empowering his community, encouraging and being insightful to his community. He gave financial literacy. He went into the community and saw the problems in the community and did something about it. I follow in that same footsteps. I mean, I don't pray I won't go out the same way. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if I'm going to fight for my people, I want to be shoulder to shoulder with my people, whatever they look like. It could be my East Asian brothers and sisters. It could be my Mexican brothers and sisters, my Panamanian, my El Salvadorian brothers and sisters. Jess, we need to get you a 23andMe. And once again, Tyler, I'm going to say it again. I don't know what round of Africa you were drafted out of, but we need to get you a 23andMe. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I understand that part, but I was like, the first thought that came to my head was just like, because I used to be a runner. So
yeah, I understand that. And whatever. And the cool thing about this is like the way that I have it set up is it doesn't have to look like what each state or town is going to look like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I plan on doing something in Maryland. Tyler plans on doing something in California. What Jess got planned in Wisconsin is going to be mad different. I don't know. I don't know. You could mess around and do something. I don't know. Get your artsy fartsy school friends and y'all can put something together. I don't know, man. I mean, seriously. If you are thinking about, participating in this, please hit me up. Please hit my team up on Tetelestai Incorporated. We're going to be having a Zoom meeting around, I think I'm going to do it at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that would be 12 for Jess, 11 for E, and about 10 for Tyler. You know what I'm saying? And for those that aren't going to be able to make it, but still want to participate in it, send somebody who can be an ambassador to the people that want to be facilitating this said movement, this said event. This is only phase 1 of what I have planned. But yeah, I want to celebrate America for everybody, not just white America. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to celebrate hot dogs and this, that, and the third. I want to eat some unwesternized food. I want to eat some Caribbean food. I want it, like, I'm serious. I might call you on FaceTime. It's like, hey, what is this? You know what I'm saying? While I'm out there, you know what I'm saying? I might just do that. But I want to see my brothers and sisters for what they come from, because I want to know what they come from and understand them. I want to know, just like this conversation in which I'm trying to have, I want to understand what hurts them, because then I want to know how I can love them better. That is the goal at the end of the day. That is why I call myself Mr. Lead with Love. That's why I live my life by 1 Corinthians 16:14, do everything in love and let everything I do be done in love. You know what I'm saying? And even for the goofies in the comment section, y'all got silly. You know what I'm saying? And I did something uncharacteristic, and I hopped in the comment section and I started handing out TKOs and 2 pieces in the name of Jesus. But that's okay. That's all right. You know what? You want to argue? Sign up for that Patreon, because I'm not arguing with people that ain't paying me at the end of the day. I got to focus on my panelists on screen. I got to focus on the hearts that are going to be watching this at home that are actually trying to get a message and not be dealing with this BS or this mess. You know what I'm saying? You'll say, my bad. You good. You good, E. I ain't nobody picking on you. I have no problem educating you. You know why? Because you ain't got no problem educating me. And the same goes for everybody on the screen. You heard me? That's about it, guys. This was fruitful. This was good. I never like really plan these things. I freestyle all these. I do them all off the cuff. Like, we had 2 topics a day, but then it turned into just like kind of like a support group where we just listen to each other. But guess what? This is my podcast. This is my podcast. Y'all have the privilege of hanging out with my family by your choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your choice. You get to hang out with my goofy self and these goofy people. All of them. Even
Casper.
Huh?
Can I add? You looking fresher than my brother.
Oh my God, leave me alone, yo. Why you got
the zebra bandana, you got the jacket and the hoodie. I'm like, damn, this brother came in fresh.
You about to get fired. My goodness, I appreciate it, black man. Thank you. But yeah, man, y'all got the time to just hang out and listen to us, and I hope that you were able to take away something from somebody in here. It doesn't have to be that profound. It could be super small, and it will seek you to seek more nuances and seek you to understand more. You know what I'm saying? You have any other questions about these things in the comment section? That's what Google's for, son. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all have smartphones. A lot of y'all are older than Google. Use Google. God bless you. You know what I'm saying? Always remember you are beautiful, blessed, and beloved. Raisins don't go on potato salad. I know Key's watching. Mayonnaise doesn't go in peas, and Jesus wasn't white. Have a good night.